Hello, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing well on this very fine day. We've got Wads in the building, so it has been a while. Hope you are well.
I'm good, thank you, Dan. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It has been a while. Start of the season, fine year. How you felt about pre-season?
Uh, in terms of signings, I think we all wanted probably a few more at this stage. It's a big relief we've got a goalkeeper sorted. That's what we all wanted the most, I think. It was just getting quite nerve-wracking. But I'm pretty intrigued by Matt Turner. I think it's a good bit of business. We need someone else, in my opinion, to I'm curious to see how Forest approach it, whether he's going to be first choice or second choice. um, we need a few more players in, but Turner could be a good player for us. Alanga's a very interesting prospect, and I think Ola Aina looks pretty good as well. And in terms of results, I mean, obviously it was quite a poor pre-season. Really, two fairly scrappy wins. Levante was pretty good. That Rennes game was very very poor. But we played some great sides, Frankfurt and PSV. So you can't be too picky, and we should have really beaten Frankfurt. That McKenna goal should have stood really. But you know what they say, pre-season doesn't really matter. So I'm not too bothered about it. So long as we get results in the league, that's all that really matters. It's obviously a really, really difficult start away from home for the team that was the worst team on the road last season. But it is a new season, so maybe it might be a bit different. And obviously we've got kind of the opposite at home. We've got some more favourable games that we really must take advantage of. But I just can't wait to get back to the City ground, just get back to football. Like I've been to a couple of games recently, but I do miss our actual home. Those Premier League games were very special last year. So yeah, I look forward to that.
I think we all are, to be fair. It has been a while since we've been at home, and I think the one thing I've been looking forward to is, yeah, last season we needed to make that number. I know we're talking about last season like we normally do, but I mean, this season I quite enjoyed it more. Yeah, we're not made as much signings as we wanted, as you said, but it's nice
Mm.
to have that really tall group place that we're not seeing this tall group place for a very long while.
No, I was actually thinking that the other day. Actually, how this has got to be the first season in a very very long time where we're going to go into it with a side that was very similar to the one that ended the previous season. Like because every year under Marinakis, he's spent very big. He's put in a lot of players to either try and get us promoted or stay in the Premier League, and then we don't like talking about him. But under the previous owner, he just spent like it was well, he didn't particularly spend. He just bought in loads of players, and it was a similar kind of concept, I suppose. And the point is every year it's like we had a new squad of some kind, and we do need to bring in players, but I can't see us bringing in any more than like six or seven at a push. So it will be nice to have a squad like actually that we can have for more than a season. And it's such a good team as well. Like there is, as we say, there's areas that definitely need to be improved. There are quite a few players that still need to be moved on, but it's the quality compared to where we were a couple of years ago is second to none. Like we've got so many exciting players, which is kind of taken for granted. Really, we don't realise it. We've got Brazilian ballers in our side now. It's just pretty mad, really. I'm just excited for the future, and hopefully we can keep building on it. But yeah, it's going to be weird, but good actually to have a side that it isn't like completely different to the one that ended the previous year. So yeah, I look forward to that.
Yeah, definitely. It has been a while since we have been at City Ground, as you said. It was May, and I mean, I don't know if you go past it as much, but I go past it quite a lot, and I actually look at it thinking, I can't wait for it to be that day on a Saturday or a Sunday kick-off as we've been used to. So,
Mm.
and I'm definitely missing the press mode at the end.
Well, we didn't hear it many times last season, but we picked it up a few times actually towards the end of course, that great end to the season we had, and I think we're all hoping we can continue it into this season. And that year's worth of Premier League experience to our name now should be absolutely huge. We were complete novices last year, like Luton will be this year. They're going to be completely unknown to it all. Whereas that was what we were last time, and this time we're still learning 100%. We've got to improve that away form for starters, but we've experienced it now. We know what to expect. A whole year's worth of Prem football is huge for hopefully getting better and always improving from it. So yeah, you mentioned actually it was the last time I went to the City ground. I've not actually been. I've only been once since the last game there against Arsenal, which was obviously unbelievable. That was the Notts friendly actually. I went there just before we played them. Saw that incredibly long queue for the home kit and the away kit actually. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the new shop as well. I've not even been. It looks really good. So
It is really nice to be fair. I went in. I went in on my payday just to get the home shirt, and you know what? Big shout out to the shop because it looks it just looks a lot more open now where the tills was, and they
mm,
actually moved all that around, and you know what? It makes it a lot more spacious now, which before it weren't spacious. So
no,
big shout out to whoever created that um, store. To be fair.
no, yeah, it looks really good. I couldn't go in because of how long the queue was last time. So I look forward to going in on match day.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, talking about match day, after Arsenal on Saturday, I mean, they probably will have that bit more edge because they have played that bit more. I don't say competitive action because pre-season is about getting competitive, but they have that bit more thingy because they won the Community Shield last week. Depending if one call that as friendly or if you want to say they played in a competitive match, so they will have that bit more thingy. But how are you feeling going into Arsenal?
I mean, besides Man City, it probably couldn't get any harder for us away. So it's like we get it out of the way, nice and early. Um, I've only known us go to the Emirates twice, and we lost 5-0 both times. So honestly, I would just take like a good performance. Like we all want to get some points on the board early on, but those away games, Arsenal, City, United, Chelsea to start off is brutal. If we've got to be realistic about it, if we can just get a couple of points from that, it's amazing, and then we can win them home games against Blades and Burnley and that. But yeah, Arsenal obviously, I think they're going to be strong again this season, probably stronger. Made some amazing signings, Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, Timber at the back. Probably need a couple more, I'd say, to really like push City. I think they're going to get David Raya as a backup. That says everything about how good they are. So yeah, it's going to be extremely tough for us. But what do you expect? It's the Premier League. It's of course it's going to be difficult. But so long as we don't do what we did a few times last season and just collapse or concede it early on, and it just goes downhill. Just have a professional performance. Give Arsenal a go. Don't hold back on them. I'll take that honestly because it's a really tough game to start the year. So we've got to be realistic about it. Obviously, if we won, that would probably be one of the best results ever. It'd be incredible. But I mean, let's just hope. But we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in pre-season, we have seen to be playing that 3-4-2-1 formation a lot more than we have seen it. So we probably are predicting for us to be starting that a lot more, especially against Arsenal, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure how we plan on lining up. To be fair, because you know, with everyone fit, you've got Musa and you've got Felipe, and then how do you fit in Wall? Wall has looked a bit shaky in pre-season, but he ended last season really well. So I think Joe certainly got his place. I'm not really sure what the future holds for McKenna or Bolly. Obviously, we've seen Steve Cook go, which is really sad, to be honest, after what he's done for us. And he deserved to go and play some football. Hopefully he can sort QPR, like saying a bit of a mess. But yeah, defensively for us, I think we quite clearly want to get a centre back in. We wanted to get that Roma guy, but he went to Saudi Arabia, which is frustrating for us because that looked to me like it would have been a statement of a signing. And I think it's needed really. Like you could look at it in one respect. Okay, we've got Musa and we've got Karte and Wall, or the first two names would be the first two names there really. If you're going to play two. But if one of them's out, which currently they both are, you want someone that can step in and reach their level. And if we're being brutal, like Wall, McCann aren't on their level. So, yeah, I'm not really sure how we're going to do it. But it'd be a nice problem to have, having an extra strong name in there at the back. I think it is needed. More than anything, talking about formation, like you say. I think we will hopefully be adaptable. We need to be adaptable. I think in these big games against Arsenal and that we probably will be playing three at the back. I can understand that it is, it's negative, but I think it also just gives you a bit more of a structure against those big sides. And it depends how you play with three at the back. If you play three at the back, or even drop the wing backs to full back, it can be very defensive. And then how you play, I get why some people don't like it, but it's how you go about it. I don't really think formation is bad as how we play necessarily. But yeah, it was interesting how we ended last season. Really, we reverted back to that back three that we moved away from at the start of the year when it wasn't working. We were getting battered, of course. We played three in midfield and then two at the back instead, and then we kind of played both. Played three in midfield and three at the back. Brought Wall into the mix, and Danilo just suddenly became this attacking midfielder for us. And yeah, it got us over the line, didn't it? It got us to stay in the Premier League. So I'm not really sure how we plan on making it happen. I just know that Forest quite clearly want to get options in all across the park, and we need options. I think centre back, as we've said, is another area we need to strengthen. Just mainly because of injuries, to be honest. And then Felipe, as incredible as he is he's only going to get older. And these are the areas that we need to improve, of course. But yeah, I just hope we can sort it all out before the end of the month.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know how you feel on it, but having Yates and Mangala in that centre midfield, with Danilo do playing as that bit more attacking, it's a lot more. I don't know. I feel that bit more secure in there. No, like when we had Jimmy and Yates in centre midfield, I feel that secure with Mangala and Yates in there now, with Danilo in that bit more attacking with Gibbs, right?
Yeah, I think we found that formula, didn't we? Yeah, it's like, well, it kind of felt like the last couple of games, really. Like, I don't know, like the last 8 games or something, we finally found the right formula in midfield, because the amount of combinations we had last season in midfield was scary. Like, it started with Mangala and O'Brien, then Yates came into the mix, then Karte came into the mix, Freuler, Shelvey, forgotten man, Voldemort. But yeah, obviously we managed to find that right balance. Found that right balance of Yates, Mangala, and Danilo. That creativity of Danilo, that leadership with Yates, just that all-in attitude that he has, which is why I think he's so important to us. And then Mangala is just such a technically gifted player. Just kind of goes a bit unnoticed at times, but I think he's a really important player. But I think what it is really, like I was saying with the centre backs, like even with Wall playing, alongside the other two that I mentioned, Felipe and Karte. When Wall plays with them two, like he's a different player. He's so much better, and we've seen him pre-season, albeit it is pre-season, and even in the Premier League, of course, without them two, he was nowhere near as strong. Which is that's kind of obvious, really, but it's more strength in depth than injuries. Because if our injuries are going to be the same as last year, which God I hope they're not, we need to strengthen and getting more options, because we don't want to be in when we played Man City at home, I remember in February, we had 2 fit centre backs against Manchester City. We had Wall and Felipe, Had no one else for that game. I think it was only like that game, and it was that. But yeah, that we do not want to be in that situation. Obviously, we managed to get a draw out of it like that somehow, but we just need options in the midfield. Like we said, those three are great, but Freuler for me, I don't think he works. He doesn't suit the Prem or Forest. He's clearly a good player in there, but he's not been working for us. He's been looking to move away as well. Don't know how true it is. Shelve is irrelevant. Kuarte, I'm not sure how we plan on using him. Is he good enough anymore? I think he's at 33 now. Kuarte.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if we can really trust him going forward to play many minutes really. And he had quite a few good games last year, but he had some rocky moments as well. And I really would love to see Lewis O'Brien get some chances again, but I'm just not sure we will. So if we get those three and then O'Brien and then someone else, because we definitely need someone else, then the midfield, I'm happy with that. And obviously, we can play Scarpa there. We've got Aguilera. I don't know how we're going to use Aguilera, but he's obviously more advanced. Yeah, Morgan can kind of drop back as well. It depends how we line up really, but normally Gibbs White plays either out wide or as a striker at times. So you don't really see Morgan playing that deep like you do with Yates and Mangala and technically Danilo. But we saw Danilo; he was basically playing as a 10 the end of last season. So it was like we had two sets of midfield really. It was like Yates, Mangala, and then Danilo and Morgan ahead of them. Yeah, basically, strength and depth's very important. So we need to make sure we address it, really.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree more. I mean, I know this one been dragging on all summer, and this is I don't agree with you. And when we signed Matt Turner, but what's your thoughts on Dean Henderson? And I just read something then that apparently Tom Easton's injured now, so it could look like Endo's playing. But what's your thoughts on Hendo?
Oh, it's probably the most frustrating transfer saga I've done as being involved in, to be honest. Like, it's just... And we're probably not even going to get him. That's how frustrating it is. I remember, like, end of June, there was reports saying he's here. Like, he's done deal, imminent, he's going to be announced. And we're now a few days before the season starts and he isn't here and he probably isn't going to come. And it's just disappointing, really. Like, maybe... I think if he hadn't got injured, we probably would have signed him. I think the injury is what's done it, really. Like, and I get it, we're being cautious. We don't want to, sign someone that's been injured for 7 months and, pay 20 million for someone like that and then they get injured again. And it's so sad. Like, I love Dean. He was an amazing goalkeeper for us. And I would have loved to have seen him play in that thriving Forest side that ended the season, the final, 7 games. And Navas was great for us overall, kept us in the league. He made mistakes, but without him, he would have gone down. I think Hendo would have done exactly the same. Hendo actually played for us in the hardest period of the season, alongside that run we had in April time, or March time, getting to know the Premier League. And he was in goal for some tough games for us, but we all still praised him heavily. And his attitude... He just seemed to bond with the club straight away. And I would have loved it if he'd come back. I mean, he could still come back, but I don't know whether it's Man United's end or it's our end or both. But I just don't see him coming back now, to be honest. I think it would have happened. And, is Turner signed for a first-choice goalie? Is he going to be backup goalkeeper? And then are we going to get someone else in, to be first choice or second choice to Turner? I have a feeling Turner could be a very good goalkeeper for us. So I think he might be first choice potentially. But yeah, I'm sad about it, to be honest. But it is what it is. We've missed out on quite a few transfers this summer, seemingly. Sangare in midfield. It looks like we've missed out on him and lots of other players. Carlos Borges, Tyler Adams. We were linked with them, and they've moved to other clubs. So it's frustrating that. Would have loved Dean to come back, stir a chance potentially, but it's been pretty tiresome really. Like seeing so many reports and it's just wishful thinking half the time. You know, I mean, I love the transfer window, but at the same time, it's also really like you just want it to close so you can just get a settled team. So yeah, it just gets more hectic, really, doesn't it, as the window goes on?
Yeah, definitely. Couldn't agree more on it. To be fair, and
Yeah,
what you said. Um, it felt like we was in an abusive relationship with Man United trying to get him in without even being in one.
well, yeah, we got in Anthony Elanga very quickly, but Henderson. No, I mean, I'm not really too surprised. You know, they dragged the feet with James Garner, didn't they? You know, we wanted him back,
Yeah,
and you know they didn't let him have us, and then they didn't let us have him, and then a few weeks later, suddenly he's available and he goes to Everton. Like, and I can see that happening with Dean, honestly. Like, dragging the feet, saying he might stay now because of Heaton's injury. I guarantee last week of the window he'll go to someone like Brentford or someone, you know, just a random club, and you think, oh, it could have been us, but yeah, it. I just don't want to deal with Man United personally. Can we just not sign any of their players, please?
yeah, definitely. You got a score prediction for Saturday.
It's a horrible game to have to predict because realistically, you know, it's probably a game we could lose. Um, I do think I don't see us winning. You know, it would be absolutely incredible. You know, if we did, we've got an amazing record against Arsenal at home. We've won the last three games against Arsenal at home, and that's going back to 2017. So, yeah, we've got a great record against them at home. Besides that League Cup game years back when they beat us like 4-0. I remember that. But yeah, at the Emirates, yeah, they're a totally different beast to what they were a couple of years ago. They're an amazing team. And I think they're going to be out for a point to prove. So it's like we're first target. They're going to be thinking, okay, here's Forest. They stopped us winning the league. We're going to give them a good hiding. Cheers, Arsenal. No, I'm just going to be respect. I'm going to be diplomatic and say 2-1 to Arsenal, but we'll put up a real good fight, and then we'll beat Sheffield United 3-0.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's
You
just
heard it
say
here,
that.
here
There
first.
we
Yeah,
go. I'll take that.
uh, absolutely quality.
There we go. It is
Uh,
quality.
it is quality. Do you want to say about socials?
Yeah, please come subscribe to us, everyone. I've been doing plenty of Forest content, just like Dan the Man and all the other Forest guys. So yeah, stay tuned, and yeah, you Reds really. Thank you.
Yeah. You had do it onto Brad's channel. He has got even 5K over the summer as well. So
Yeah,
big up Brad for doing that. It is
thank you.
quality.
See,
Thanks for
quality.
coming on. That's the usual.
No problem.
Quality.
Thank you.
Shout out to thanks for watching and goodbye.